Good evening. Welcome to the Gresham-Barlow Board of Education, Wednesday, March 5th, regular board business meeting. We will call to order, and I believe I didn't ask earlier, but Sean, are you interested in leading the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready, you get.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. May we be seated? We show in attendance this evening, myself, Chris Howard as chair, Holly Riegelman as vice chair, Blake Peterson, director, David Ligatich, director, Dr. Myra Gomez, director, Dr. Sean Farns, director. We have a vacant position, and our interim superintendent, John Cook, is excused for this evening. Deputy Superintendent Tracy Klinger will be standing in. So with that, I don't believe there are any changes to the agenda. So is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented?
Second.
Been moved by Myra, seconded by David to approve the meeting agenda as presented. Any discussion? I will ask, just to make sure, there was earlier a question about one of our consent agenda items. And so if that item is going to come off of the
Chair Howard, usually that comes off when you get to the
come off
consent
when we get to
agenda
that part.
item.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I wasn't sure where that fell into that. So, all right, so we have a motion to approve, a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Land acknowledgement. You want to read any or all of it, Myra? You can pick. I could, actually, not as well. I'll start. You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We acknowledge that the land where Gresham-Barlow School District is located rests on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Multnomah, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Molalla, bands of the Chinook, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia River. We also acknowledge the systemic policies of genocide, relocation, and assimilation that still impact many Indigenous, Native American families today. As settlers and guests on this land, we respect the work of Native nations, leaders, and families, and make ongoing efforts to center Indigenous knowledge, creativity, resilience, and resistance. We consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us here today.
Reconocemos que la tierra donde está ubicado el Distrito Escolar Gresham-Barlow descansa sobre la tierra ancestrales y no cedidas de Multnomah, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Molalla, bandas de Chinook y muchas otras tribus que establecieron sus hogares a lo largo del río Columbia. También reconocemos las políticas sistémicas de genocidio, reubicación y asimilación que todavía afectan a muchas familias indígenas nativas americanas en la actualidad. Como colonos invitados en estas tierras, respetamos el trabajo para que las naciones, los líderes y las familias nativas y hacemos esfuerzos continuos para centrar el conocimiento, la creatividad, la resiliencia y la resistencia indígenas. Consideramos los numerosos legados de violencia, desplazamiento, migración y asentamiento que nos trae aquí hoy.
Our first item on our meeting is citizens' requests of the board, guidelines for public comment. And we'll get to that screen here for a second. Time has been set aside on the agenda for citizens' requests of the board. This is an opportunity for the board to listen and learn from the community. Board members are not able to respond to public comments during the meeting, but appreciate hearing your input. Public comments can be submitted writing before the meeting or given in person during the meeting. Pursuant to House Bill 256, Paren 3, Paren A, the meeting of the Gresham-Barlow School Board will be presented online to allow for virtual public attendance. And so I know that we have a couple of people this evening that have submitted theirs ahead of time. Is there anyone that has not submitted theirs ahead of time that would like to add theirs before we move off of this topic? I have three right now. We have one from Tawny Craig, one from Cho, and I apologize if I said your name wrong, and Sarah Miller. And so if you are all here, you would each get 3 minutes for your presentation. We do have your material online. And do we have any others that have been turned in, Sarah? Okay, all right. So if Tawny Craig is in the audience, if you want to come down to the front, please, and state your name and your general topic and your affiliation with the district, please.
Hello, my name is Tawny Craig. I am the music teacher at North Gresham Elementary, and I'm here to talk about the practice of doubling up classes in specials. This year, we're trying something new at North Gresham to try and fulfill our new PE minutes requirement. Instead of teaching music, I am teaching dance on Wednesdays. When the idea was first presented to me, I thought it was a great idea. Dance goes hand in hand with music. I previously worked with a PE teacher who incorporated dance into her lessons, and those students were noticeably better at keeping a steady beat and responding to changes in music. However, as we started to think about logistics, it was made apparent that we would need to double up classes in order to get our many students as close as possible to the PE minutes requirement. I want to emphasize, even with an extra dance class each week, our students at North are still not meeting the required PE minutes. As keen as I was to teach dance, doubling up classes changes everything. Doubling up classes means I can't use my music room because it's too small. Instead, I teach outside or in the cafeteria where I have no access to technology or other classroom materials. I am passionate about cultural relevance in education. Some of my students are interested in hip hop and breakdancing. Some of my students have specifically asked me to teach a traditional Ukrainian dance called hopak. I have found instructional videos online that they could follow along to, but I'm unable to demonstrate these dances myself. I have medical limitations and zero training. Doubling up classes means I don't have access to regular classroom resources, which severely limits what I can teach. All I can do is teach them whatever dances I can do myself and hope they can see me and follow along while navigating around up to 60 other kids. It's extremely difficult to keep kids safe in this environment. Every Wednesday, we send kids to the office with bumps and bruises from dance class. With our limited space for so many kids, we try our best, but our best isn't enough to keep kids from getting hurt. This is especially true because students feel they are unable to ask for help, and they're not wrong. I am so busy trying to model the dance and keep all 60 students engaged that I cannot take questions. If the educational assistant assigned to dance is busy helping with the challenging behavior somewhere else, kids have no one to turn to for help. I had a kindergartner who was feeling sick, the EA was busy, and the student couldn't get my attention. So when we started spinning around in dance, the student vomited all over the floor and onto another student. I had a fifth grader who has experienced many challenges in school and at home break down crying because she was struggling to follow along. A staff member saw her in the hallway and asked her why she didn't ask me for help. She told them I was too busy. She was right. Doubling up classes means that kids get zero individual attention, which is both poor pedagogy and a safety issue. At North Gresham, we have gotten creative and tried to work with what we have to reach our PE minutes requirement. Unfortunately, what we have is not enough. If we are going to fulfill our PE minutes requirement, larger elementary schools like North Gresham need 2 PE teachers. Our students in our smaller elementary schools who don't double up classes are already getting significantly better instruction because they have the space, equipment, and time to enjoy a wider variety of activities and receive individualized attention from their teachers. This is not equitable. I'm asking you to please remember specialists when considering class sizes and caseloads. Doubling up classes is untenable. Thank you for your time. I have more stories and examples that I can share. Please feel free to contact me or come visit us at North Gresham.
All right, thank you. And we do have your material, but if you brought anything additional that you want to give, but I think it looks like you read it from the material. that we already
Okay.
have. Okay, thank you. All right, so next up we have Yun Cho. Okay, come on down. And if okay, and state your name for the record and your affiliation with the district, please.
My name is Eun Cho, and I was hired as a PE teacher at Highland Elementary School starting this year. I have total 10 different classes, 9 combined classes, and 1 single class. The size of combined classes range from 42 to 67 students. I have 1 assistant who helps me set up the gym and run a class and translate in Spanish for the students because it's a dual language school. Typically, Monday and Tuesday, we do team building activities and sports lesson. On Wednesday and Thursday, we do project-based lessons where students have to learn specific skills and they take the performance test along with the worksheet. Since last November, we have been doing jump rope challenges. And here, just to show you, these are the worksheet that we work with the entire students. On Friday, I host Mindful Friday. We watch 5 to 10-minute videos on physical and mental health, and also kids TED Talk videos, and we have a discussion afterwards. And also we do self-care techniques through yoga, meditation, and breathing techniques. I'm sharing what I do with my students, not to brag, but to provide a clear picture of the reality I'm facing in the classroom. Teaching combined classes with 60+ students is not just challenging, it's unsustainable. The workload involved in preparing lessons, teaching, assessing, giving feedback, and reassessing is enormous. These numbers reflect the daily challenges I encounter, and I'm concerned about the long-term impact on the quality of education I can provide under these circumstances. There are 3 main reasons I cannot continue teaching combined classes. First, the sheer number of students make it impossible to meet curriculum goals and maintain a productive learning environment. For example, in December, during our jump rope challenge, 66% of the students master 4 or more tricks in the basic level. However, once we move on to intermediate level, there was a decline in performance as only 46% were able to master the same number of tricks. Physical and athletic skills build upon each skill, and as students move beyond the basic, the difficulty of the challenges increase. As challenges increase, my students require more individual attention and feedback to help them reach their goal. I'm unable to provide adequate support to the students who are either ready to be challenged further or need extra help to meet their goals. Combined classes create a situation where, despite my best effort, I'm losing the motivation of a significant portion of my students. The second reason I cannot continue teaching combined classes is safety. Every week, there are minor injuries, sprained ankles, bump into other students, even bloody nose from getting hit by a ball. I find myself hesitating to let students run around, which defeats the purpose of PE. Lastly, I'm unable to properly assist students with Tier 2 and Tier 3 behavioral management needs who struggle to keep up in the combined classes. My assistant and I are doing everything we can to accommodate and keep these students motivated, but with 67 students in a class, it's impossible to meet their needs. Once one of these students begins to feel ignored or unseen, their behavior worsens and it becomes harder to prevent disruption. It's heartbreaking to see some of the Tier 3 students drop out of Highland and transfer to other schools. When I speak with them and learn about their challenges they face at home, I totally understand the accommodation they need, but the current setup is damaging their mental health and jeopardizing their future. Gresham-Barlow is not the community I grew up in, and this is my first year living in Oregon. However, when I interact with my students, there's no difference between them and the students I taught in California, Korea, or Maine. In fact, some of my students here show even more interest in learning than those in Cali, Korea, or Maine. There are incredibly talented athletes and scholars with the potential to make a real impact in the world. What worries me, though, are the students who are being neglected, who are wasting their time instead of building positive relationships and creating memories in PE that will help them navigate their future. Thank you.
And I did want to double check with you, Mr. Cho. You did check on your statement that you would like to have someone contact you, but we don't have contact information. I'm assuming they know where, but if you wanted to, got that information. Yeah, we just didn't put it on the thing. Okay, all right. Okay, okay, all right. Next up is Sarah Miller from North Gresham Elementary.
Good evening, members of the board, Chair Howitt and Acting Superintendent Klinger. Hello again. My name is Sarah Miller, and I'm an elementary physical education teacher at North Gresham Elementary. As a former Gresham-Barlow School District student, I enjoy passing along the rich knowledge and wonderful experiences I had growing up in this district to all of my students I teach and the athletes I coach. Currently, I'm in my 17th year of teaching physical education and have been in the district for 7 years. I have spent some time in all levels of education and feel very versed to speak about the topic at hand this evening. First and foremost, I love what I do. I love my job, I love my students, and I love my school. I enjoy inspiring our youth about physical education, fitness, individual and dual sports, team sports, and games. Teaching students about the importance of exercise paired with having fun and challenging yourself means you can learn so much about yourself and their own values when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle, and also having new experiences and learning to love yourself through the tough times. I would like to present to the board firsthand knowledge and experience with large class sizes in elementary physical education. I'll be speaking about the safety and behavioral concerns as well as the developmental challenges large class sizes present during PE classes or other classes being doubled up. Doubled classes at the elementary level is not okay and should never be the solution or the norm. Developmentally appropriate size classes in physical education should be at the forefront of this statement because it has the power to dictate a child's experience in PE and sport for many years to come. In my case, a child's experience when they walk through the doors of the gym in a doubled up physical education class is limited. Doubled up classes can see anywhere from 40 to 55 students at one time. In total, I teach 600 students. I will also state that I have a full-time PE educational assistant who is wonderful and has a great rapport with our students. Each class has PE 2 to 3 times a week, and that is depending on our Wednesday rotation. We are still not meeting the mandated 150 minutes of PE, but we're close. Doubled PE classes are happening at Highland Elementary, East Gresham as well. I would like to state for the record that most families at these schools have no idea that PE classes are doubled. As a parent, who would want that? If I know if my son's school switched to double classes, I would be outraged. Developmentally, spatial and body awareness are a crucial component of physical education, as well as locomotor movements. Students are finding out how to move through space, how to find space, and give each other space. Students are also practicing skills that will help them as they develop and mature in their adolescent years. My role as a physical education teacher is to provide examples, provide feedback, and work with students who are needing to fine-tune these skills. The task is almost impossible to do as I am planning through my units. Team sports stress me out the most. I just ended a volleyball unit that was hard to explain concepts and skills, let alone trying to play a real game. I had 10 to 12 kids on each side of the court with 24 other students sitting out waiting for their opportunity to play. Don't get me started on figuring out how to have a good serving rotation. That was really hard. We can work on skills, but putting it all together in a game is going to be quite challenging. Honestly, it really bothers me that, and I don't like that, let alone I don't have enough equipment to tackle this. Large class sizes also cause concern for students who are experiencing sensory challenges, trauma, and acute stress due to the overwhelming number of students in physical education class. Please try to imagine 55 screaming kindergartners in a gym. Imagine a first grader who has had a traumatic experience, starts crying, covering their ears, hiding in a corner, refusing to come out, or will not engage in play or running out of the gym because the noise level alone is overwhelming. This happens almost daily. I've never seen so many kids wearing headphones during classes to cancel out loud noises so they can function in class. This should tell you that having 55 plus kids in a gym is not helpful, it's hurtful. Safety is extremely important to me. I cannot justifiably keep 55 students safe at all times. There's this constant traffic heading to and from the office to get ice packs, first aid supplies, and dealing with injuries beyond my capabilities. Having large classes can place lots of stress on the teacher, educational assistants, behavioral support, and it interrupts a child's learning through transition times and from PE class to their homeroom class. Instructional minutes are lost when balancing two classes at once due to challenging behaviors, students not being able to accept non-closure, etc. The influx of students swarming toward me, interjecting at any given point as I am teaching, is absolutely overwhelming. I'm worried about students not being able to enjoy physical education to the fullest extent due to larger than normal class sizes, which causes a lack of motivation and moving into the next grade level or secondary education. Non-engagement and a lack of love for exercise, involvement with friends, I am truly worried about the consequences this could be presented. What is the end goal? What experience are we giving youth at this level? Is it that it's okay to push through a class without giving them the proper education? Are students just a number, or do they hold more value than that? Large class sizes at the elementary level are not developmentally appropriate and sustainable. Personally, teaching double classes is not for the faint of heart. I can do this job because I've had a great background in physical education and many experiences with leading large class sizes, but this is with older students. The number one statement I get from people when I explain double classes in PE is, "I don't know how you do it." I'm exhausted and have a hard time giving it my all at home. Most often, feelings of guilt and sorrow run through my head when I am not at 100% for my own child. I feel that I am letting him down due to the burnout and overstimulation during my teaching day. This statement was made tonight not to sow doubt, divide groups, or point the finger and blame. The point of this is to give you all a real understanding of the day-to-day inequities of a meaningful education in physical education. I also want to make sure that double classes should not and will not be the status quo for any elementary school going forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And then we do have an additional request to get public feedback from a student that is here, I believe. Yeah. Mark Spolatak, did I say it right? Okay. Do you need your paperwork back then? Yeah. Okay. So state your name for the record, please, and how you're affiliated with the district.
Good evening. My name is Mark Spolitok. I am a freshman at Gresham High School and a former student at Clear Creek Middle School. Over the years, I have been extremely disappointed and occasionally a bit disgusted at what the values of the school district seem to be. I would like to start with that by saying that the curriculum is not truly about educating a child. The word education comes from a word that means to pull the gifts out of someone. And with the way school is set up here, I bet it's more common for dreams to be crushed because the schools in this area are built on the idea that grades matter more than true callings in life, and that curiosity is something that can be scheduled in a science or history class. Now, I can understand the fact that it is more the Oregon Department of Education that is in charge of the system here, not school districts, but that is why I use the word values in the context of what I, as a student, am giving my public opinion on. Because even though you, as a school board, don't have much control over the actual system, you do still work with it as a school district, and according to your website, it is your job to provide an educational program and set district policy. It is not those values themselves on the website that I'm criticizing, but the values that play the role in what decisions are made by the school board to reach those goals. Because the truth is, students are not going to be interested in going to school if you don't engage them and don't give them a reason to come and show up and sit in that chair. In fact, they will hate the excessive requirement to do so, and in fact, many do. And that reason to show up should not be 24 credits like classes or some sort of forced 8 hour a day, 5 day a week, 3 seasons a year video game. That reason should not be you are so calm and inclusive that you put tampons in boys' bathrooms and then have students watch clips of an 8-year-old kid going to a happy little sexual pride parade with his mommy, because I had to watch a video with exactly that crap in it in health class, with it implying that anyone who finds it insane is a horrible person, turning inclusivity into indoctrination. I can send an email with more information on it if needed. And finally, that reason to show up should be more than just because you have to. The CAL program advertises the words, "Get ready to love what you do," at Gresham High School for students considering joining the CAL program. But my question is, why don't I already love what I do? Why can't our schools also be centers for learning, not just do the assignments and punish the kids who don't? Because it seems like that is the value, along with banning phones and obsessing over pronouns. Why not give students a real reason to come to school? I suggest promoting true curiosity in the classroom. That's what matters. I remember in the 8th grade, I once got told to put away my book about astronomy inside of a science class. I suggest less restrictions on who can take what classes. You're required, for example, you're required to wait all the way until you're a senior, voting and paying taxes till you learn how to actually do it in government class, basically beginning a rehearsal process on opening night. I suggest less rules on what counts as a credit if it's possible, as I once asked my assistant principal whether any amazing book I could write ever account for the chores we call schoolwork in my English class, in the case of creativity above standards, in the case of being creative with what I'm writing instead of just following a bunch of standards and doing what I'm told. And I was told, I quote, "No, and it's silly," as in my assistant principal was agreeing that this rule was silly. The standards instead of the creativity is what is being prioritized. I apologize if I'm a bit mistaken on how much authority the school board has, but one thing I do know for sure is that this something that the school board can do for sure is publicly invite students to the room when decisions are being made. Encourage them to speak up and also listen to them, because kids have opinions. I've seen it. I've talked to a lot of people. These are our next doctors, lawyers, presidents, and pastors, our next Albert Einsteins and Isaac Newtons. My final thought is to support that fact with more field trips, electives, and learning through experiences, especially in middle schools. As at Clear Creek Middle School, I don't remember much more than like 8 electives when there's so many things, so many things students love. That's how you pull the guests out of someone, and that's what students need. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we need that paper back in. So if you want to bring that up to me. And then I would ask you, how would you like us to get back to you? Would you like a comment to this? Just email you? Is that information on here somewhere? Do we have
Sure,
that?
I do have his email from earlier.
What's that?
I have his email address.
Okay, all right. So she has that. Thank you for coming this evening. We appreciate it. Okay, yeah, thank you. I've got it right here. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Oh, look at this one. This one goes in. Okay. Thank you. So there being no other requests to speak before the board, that will end our citizens' request of the board this evening. I don't see anyone else out there that would like to speak, so thank you. Next up is our consent agenda. The items that are on the consent agenda are minutes from the special work session, February 5th, 2025, minutes from the regular business meeting, February 5th, 2025, monthly financial report as of 1/31/2025, personnel report, employee contracts, and superintendent contract, which was added March 3rd, 2025, a rather lengthy policy update that we reviewed at our work session. And so those are the things that are in there. Is there anything that anyone wants to pull from the consent agenda? Otherwise, these items are enacted with one motion and there's no discussion on the items.
I do, but I have a clarifying question. I have questions about employee contract process, particularly for administrator contracts. And so I don't have any reason to pull the licensed contracts. I'm wondering if I can pull only
It's
that
all
subcomponent.
within one. That's item number 4, the personnel report, employee contracts.
Yes.
So it's all as one. So if you'd like to pull that one out, we can. And I believe we have our HR director, Dr. Angela Freeman, there she is, available to answer some
Okay.
general
like to pull
questions
that
about that
then.
process questions. So, so it sounds like you would make the motion to approve the consent agenda with removal of item number 4, personnel report, and we will deal with that directly after the consent agenda item. We'll do that at the front end of the meeting. So is that, do you want to make that motion?
Sure, I'd move to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item 4.
And is there a second? Okay, so it's been moved by Blake, seconded by Holly to approve the consent agenda as presented with removal of item number 4, personnel report, employee contracts for further information. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. So how, do I have to say something specific to get that one back on, or did we say it enough that it's just gonna come right now?
I think you said enough that it'll come right
Said
now.
enough.
Yeah, for actions.
I said it.
If
All right.
Paul's in there.
Okay, so we pulled item number 4, personnel report, and that has quite a bit of information on it. And I believe as per Director Peterson's request, what the process is for some of it, and just in general, we see this report every spring. And I'm just going to turn some of this over to Angela Freeman to kind of give a general overview of some of this. And I believe your specific question, Blake, is around probationary. I'll let you
Yeah,
say
I'd
it.
like to understand the difference between probationary and contract status.
Testing. It works. Probationary, good evening, everyone, board chair and members of the board. The difference between probationary of any licensed administrator or teacher, probationary status is in that first 3 years of employment. Once you complete the first 3 years, then you enter contract status. Contract status for our licensed teachers or members of the bargaining unit have different provisions provided in their contract in the CBA. If you're a licensed contract teacher, then would be for a probationary licensed employee. But it's the years, I guess, is.
I think the follow-up question then
Mhm.
is from an accountability performance evaluation standpoint,
Mhm.
what are the distinctives and corrective action? What are the distinctives between probationary and contract?
Both go through a timeline of evaluation and evaluation process with, I'm looking at with domains. I think administrators have the ISLIC standards, or let's see if I can pull that up for you. I wasn't prepared for going over the evaluation process, so just give me a minute while I try to pull those up. So administrators in particular go through an evaluation process where they're evaluated on 6 standards: visionary leadership, instructional improvement, effective management, inclusive practice, ethical leadership, and socio-political context.
and if I'm saying things you don't, if I'm not getting at your point, just correct me, but evaluated each year. Those evaluations are turned into the Human Resource Office. Each of them have a supervisor. Our administrators have different folks who supervise them. If you're talking about our building administrators, we have a director, executive director of K-12 schools. So she would do regular visits and observations and do a mid-year conference with those folks. Same with our teachers. There's mid-year conferences. At the beginning of the year, they set goals, sit down and have goals conferences with our teachers. There are end-of-year goals that our teachers try to reach. We have them produce data at the end of the year, a summary of growth goals for their students, but collaborative in nature. Principals go to classrooms, do teacher observations, and provide feedback. There's a certain amount of times by certain times of the year that certain formal observations and informal observations need to happen for each teacher or licensed member. That's counselors, anyone under the license contract.
And so for a little bit of clarification as well, the board does not engage in the review process or the evaluation process. However, it's always helpful for the board to understand the framework of that process. So-
Absolutely. And these are all online. I'm not, so they're all on the webpage if you want to look through the evaluation handbooks. We have a professional growth handbook for administrators and for our licensed staff as well as our classified staff as well.
I think one, this is a very robust contract set or that we're being asked to review. And I think my primary reason is to make sure the public is well aware of what the evaluation process is.
Yeah.
What the contract process is, because I think that's a high level of engagement that we receive as board members is over individual buildings and leadership within individual buildings. And so making sure, so inferring from what I'm hearing is the district has determined that anybody moving from any status to another status and renewed that you're proposing has met all of those evaluation standards.
Absolutely.
So now at this point, because we pulled that out of the consent agenda, that needs its own separate motion to approve the personnel report employee contracts. We need to have a separate vote on that. So is there a motion to approve that personnel report? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Myra, seconded by David, to approve the personnel report employee contracts as was originally the consent agenda and pulled out for further review. Further discussion on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Let's see, I didn't hear. Okay, and opposed? Good, all right. So thank you, appreciate it, Angela. And if board members have further questions, they can contact you and.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'm happy I
thank
could
you.
talk
Thank
about
you
this
so
all
much.
day.
Okay. Now, okay, I lost my place there for a second. So we're next up is update from the foundation. And without my glasses, I can't tell if they're here or not. We do have March 5th is a date when the foundation was coming. Do we have them here?
So I did send you an email earlier, Chair, that they are not here, but they did ask us to remind you of the STEM Expo that's coming up on Friday.
Okay, okay. And when is that coming up?
It's this Friday at Gresham High School. It starts at 1:30 and goes till about 4.
Okay. All right. So that's an email that went to the full board then, or just to me?
It went to board
us?
leadership.
Oh, okay. There was a lot going on. So could you send that to the full board then? Because that, if we can get there on Friday to do that, that sounds like that would be a good thing. So, okay. All right. So no update from the foundation. Next up is an update from the superintendent and district leadership. Dr. Klinger.
Good evening. I am going to share some comments prepared by Superintendent Cook. Good evening, board members. I want to provide an update on our current budget situation, which, as you all know, remains dynamic. The ongoing legislative session and the uncertainty surrounding federal funding allocations present significant challenges to our financial planning. While operating with fiscal ambiguity is a common reality for K-12 education, we are committed to proactive and responsible management. We are closely monitoring legislative developments and federal updates on a weekly basis. However, until definitive decisions are made, we must acknowledge the inherent uncertainty in our financial projections. This is and will remain an ongoing process. This budgetary fluidity, combined with our known financial shortfall, directly impacts our ability to make strategic decisions regarding key programs, staffing, and initiatives. We understand the anxiety this creates for our dedicated staff and our valued community. We are committed to maintaining transparency and providing regular communication as the situation evolves. Despite these uncertainties, our commitment to responsible fiscal management and the long-term sustainability of our district remains unwavering. There is some encouraging news. Initial projections for the Student Investment Account and High School Success Funds indicate a potential increase. In addition, as we move into the spring, we are actively identifying and implementing strategies to offset or minimize expenses now, particularly when it comes to consumable supplies and things like that. We will continue to prioritize and identify areas for cost reduction throughout the remainder of the year, knowing that any savings now positively impacts our financial situation for next year. To prepare for various funding outcomes, our cabinet and instructional leadership team have developed multiple budget scenarios, ranging from optimistic to conservative. We're also collaborating closely with our principals to assess the potential impacts on their respective schools and programs. We encourage everyone to stay informed about the legislative process and advocate for the critical needs of K-12 education. We are committed to working collaboratively with our bargaining groups to ensure we meet our contractual obligations and incorporate their input into our budgeting processes. Additionally, the Community Budget Committee will convene this month to begin its work, which will continue into the spring. With the collective expertise of this committee, our district leadership teams, bargaining units, and principals, we will maintain our focus on responsible fiscal management and long-term stability. Finally, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate our incredible classified employees. This week is officially Classified Appreciation Week, and I know that I speak for many when I say that our school simply could not function without the critical support provided by our custodians, secretaries, educational assistants, and the many other dedicated professionals who serve in these vital roles. Their hard work, dedication, and commitment to our students and schools are invaluable, and we are deeply grateful for their contributions. So I have a little something for you, team.
I was worried there for a minute because I didn't see it on the agenda tonight, but I realized if we approved it tonight, it'd be halfway through the week. So we approved it in February, but February was a long time ago. There was a lot of stuff that went on. So thank you for all of the work that our classified employees do. I know that we could not be successful without their help and support. So thank you so much. Are you complete then, Tracy?
Yes. I am.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next up is updates from board member. Oh, let's see. Yeah, updates from board members. So I'm just gonna start down with David today.
This Stan, I have a really bad cramp. Yeah. Actually, I got to do DECA interviews last Sunday. But I mean, these kids were just so intelligent. Their presentations were absolutely amazing. And I actually wanted to stay longer, but they didn't have any more kids for me. I own businesses as well as being on the school board. So they put me in a category where they had to present their business to me. And it was awesome. I'm going to stand for a minute. I'm hurting.
Holly, you want to go ahead?
Microphone on. I will just say thank you to our classified staff. I know that our schools do not run without classified staff, and oftentimes on the board, I have to remind myself the difference between classified staff and licensed staff, because as a kid and growing up in our district, classified staff were teachers, just like all the other teachers. They did just as many things and helped the school run. So we appreciate you a lot, and thank you for all that you guys do to make our school run. And then I was going to give an update on the Barlow playoff game, but it's not working for me in here. So I'll interrupt later with that. But there you go. Thank you, Tracy. Barlow's ahead. So, and then lots of things that we've been busy with this month, and our budget meetings are coming up. So lots of things. We've also been invited to many things. So I'm going to try to get to some of those things in the next couple weeks. I think I could go to something every day if my schedule had time, which it doesn't, but I will try to make it out to some schools. So,
All right, Myra?
I think you're right, Chris. February feels like a long time ago. So the first week of February, we had a large representation of Gresham-Barlow administrators at the OALA conference, which is the Oregon Association of Latino Administrators. I think this was your first time, right, Tracy? And John was there at Araceli. Michelle Cardenas participated on a panel of female leaders. Concepcion Diaz was recognized for completing the Aspiring Administrator program. And Dawn was recognized as well. I mean, we recognized her here last month in our board meeting, but she was recognized at the state level with the Ally Award. So thank you for all the work that you do. And again, Tia, thanks to all of the classified staff in our district. I've mentioned before, my mom is a classified staff member in Portland Public Schools, so I know the hard work and dedication of our classified staff. So thank you. And just remind our administrators that we are celebrating Ramadan, so have a special consideration for our Muslim students, providing a space for prayer, space for recess, so that the little ones are not outside or have to sit with their peers who are eating. Just recognizing that part of our culture in our district. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Blake? Okay, Sean?
It's been a busy month. I testified on House Bill 2953, and that is to raise the funding cap for special education. Currently it's capped at 11%, but the initial bill had no cap whatsoever, but then it passed the House of Board of the Committee on Education with a 15% cap. So still increasing that cap, which is important. There's a little bit of strings attached, but that's definitely movement. So I was happy to testify in favor for that. Went to and participated in the strategic planning work session that was all day on Friday. Got a lot of work done there. Went to several basketball games. The highlight was the Gresham-Barlow basketball game. Saw both the boys and the girls games, and Barlow won both of those games. But the both teams were having at it, and at one point the Gresham-Barlow boys game was very, very close. So that was really fun to watch. And I said it last month, but I'll say it again. Happy Classified Appreciation Week. And I want to call out Tammy. I was a young kid just out of the Army back in 2003, and she helped me with my first job as a school bus driver. So thank you so much. And so she started my journey in education, and so I never forget that. So thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Myra. I was also going to wish folks a blessed Ramadan as well. That celebration goes on through the month. I was able to attend on my birthday. They did not schedule it on my birthday, it just happened to fall on my birthday. I went to a music concert at Holly. Hogan Cedars, yes, thank you. The names are so similar, we need to come up with the Hogan Cedars. I went to the music concert, the second grade music concert, and the music director out there is Mr. Peter Nielsen Gooden, who I've known for forever, since he came into our district. And so I thought, well, I'll go, it'll be fun, you know, it's gonna be a bunch of second graders, what are they gonna do? It was one of the most amazing concerts I think I've been to in a long time. He has so much energy, so much enthusiasm with the kids, and to have, because it's all 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know how many grades there are out there, there's second grade classrooms. It was a lot of second graders. It was a lot. And they were organized, they moved through doing different participation events. It went smoothly. I could not believe how much he got done in 30 minutes. And then the exciting part was at the end, there were a whole lot of chairs that were set up in the gym because that's the only place that's big enough to put everybody. And the call went out and said, okay, we need to put away all the chairs. And my husband, who loves to volunteer, jumped right in and started putting away chairs. So he was excited about that. But it was absolutely the most wonderful thing, and would like to get out and visit Hogan Cedars again. Let's see. My work with OSBA, the Oregon School Board Association, we had our delegation of board members that went to DC for lobbying. They do that every year under the Federal Relations Network, as well as equity training. There was quite a large group that went. I did not go this year. I hope to go next year. And there was a lot of conversation that they had both with our senators as well as with some of the representatives, as well as the staff of the representatives, trying to keep forward conversations about education and what we need here in Oregon. Coming up, that will be coming out to all board members. I don't think it came out today, might have. From the Oregon School Boards Association, and the title of the email is "The Law Has Not Changed." And so there's been, okay, so we did receive that, and it gave some clarification about what can and cannot change under just a dear colleague letter or an executive order, that there are other organizations that are involved before anything changes. And I'm pretty sure that our administration is well aware of that as well. So if you have not seen this email, I'll make sure that you get it, but I'm sure the COSA superintendents and administrators have also been sending this out. So very solid coordination by Oregon School Boards Association. And they have been very definitely a big part of legislation this time around. Stacy Michelson, who was previously the lobbyist for Multnomah County, was hired recently by the Oregon School Boards Association, and she has been just jumping in and making sure that we are well represented across all of those areas. We had our board retreat, as Sean mentioned, all day, and it was an opportunity for us to get longer presentations, more in-depth presentations about what's going on, just kind of set us up for the second half of the school year. And then finally, I'm just going to give a shout out. I hope to be at Hall Elementary the week of April 7th. I like to go out there and visit, and I'll be doing some work with their, I believe, fourth graders this time. So I'm moving up from second grade up to fourth grade, and I'm expecting that to be a fun time as well. So I believe that's it. There being no other business of the board's updates, we will come to the charter school annual report. The Lupine Community Montessori School, you may know it previously as the Lewis and Clark Montessori School, but they have changed their name to the Lupine Community Montessori School. So if you would come down to the front, please. And good evening, welcome.
Do you need me to read this, Sarah? Do you need me to read it? Oh, okay. Good evening. Welcome to our charter school partners here in compliance with ORS 338095, Lewis and Clark Montessori Charter School, now known as Lupine Community Montessori Charter School, must submit a report to the district and the State Board of Education each year on the performance of the school and its students in the preceding fiscal and school year. The report must include, among other things, information regarding the goals and assessments relating to student performance and a look forward at the school year ahead. So our representatives here from Lupine Community Montessori School, job, Courtney, you got the right flowers up there, are going to present their information.
Good evening, Chair Howe and members of the board. I still struggle to say the name now. I've said Lewis and Clark too many years. The school is, do a quick overview of our demographics. We were able to increase our test scores in ELA this year, or this previous year. We went down a little bit in the math. Our current enrollment is at 305. We have 38% free and reduced, 21% multi-ethnic groups represented, and regular attenders over 90%, 74% of 90% of enrolled days. The annual school evaluation was just completed like last week, and commendations included continues to provide a unique high quality education option for Gresham-Barlow School District, the acquisition of our real estate, board developing new strategic plan, and recommendations were to continue to focus on reducing gaps for students with disabilities, underserved races and ethnicities in ELA and math, updated bylaws and articles, and greater oversight of TSPC accounts. This is what we're the most proud of this year, is the purchase of 2 buildings on Ferris Drive and a vacant lot that we plan to have our future elementary building on. I think John, he might be the only one that's familiar with when there was a school. My understanding is where our primary buildings are. Do you remember? You do. And so we have started the work on those 2 buildings, and do not move on with that one. Okay, this is going to be this location, which I think this is the one. Was it the one? This is the one that was a previous school. It's going to be the new home of our primary program, and that's basically like our kindergartners, our younger students. We're going to start the 25-26 school year with 3 classrooms, and it is currently very dusty. There is a lot of construction going on in there. The next building is our MAC, what we call MAC. That's our Montessori Adolescent Community. That's grades 7th and 8th. And they are going to be in the building across the grass. And this is a 2-level building, which will give them a lot more space. Right now, this is the group that kind of got displaced over in Fairview. So they're excited to be back with close by. The next group is we're still hanging out over on Civic Drive, and we have taken over pretty much the entire bottom of the building. What used to be commercial space, I say now is just flat out school space. And but we do have a great sandwich shop. The Big Town Hero folks have stayed around, hopefully. So we're adding additional classroom space at the far end, which will bring on 4 more classrooms that are a better size and layout than what we've kind of got down on the opposite end, which used to be, was it Metro Webcam? It was something different than Metro East. That's it. So that's exciting news there. And we're growing. We are continuing to grow and excited about growing. Last year we were at 296. This year we're up to 305, and it's actually, I just did it today after I'd already sent this in. I think we're going to be more like 350 for next year. We're clearing our, if we had the space, we could fill another building, but with our lottery, but we just don't have the space. And then what was the next thing is our finance, and I am accompanied here with Mayor Marshall, our board representative. She's our board treasurer, to go over our financial audit that just recently took place.
Thank you. And I am excited. I usually, as an accountant, don't say I'm excited to see a negative number on a statement of activity, but we just bought
two buildings and did all of the feasibility and all of the inspections and all of the permitting. And we only had to dip into our reserves for $33,000. And that is very exciting to me that the operations are going so smoothly and we're growing at a rate that is helping cover those costs that got a little tougher when we had to shrink with the move. And so overall, the audit was very clean. We're in a pretty healthy position and we're very excited to have a permanent home again and to start in our new neighborhood with our new name.
And I think the next, I think that might be close to the end. Yeah, that was it. Any questions for myself or Mary?
Yep, Sean, go ahead.
I got two. First one, I had to look up what a lupine was.
So did I.
Um,
We don't have those in the South.
I didn't even know we had them here, but what was behind naming it lupine?
So true to our Montessori roots, the children did almost a year process of, we started with 1,000, a little over 1,000 words that started with L or C, because we knew we wanted to leave the LCMCS because we just had way too many things, including email and everything else that are under LCMCS. So we started with the L and the C, and that went everywhere from the kindergartners up to the 8th graders. And we got some really creative responses for L and C. Lucky Charms was one of my favorite. They did not vote on that. And then each grade level, each classroom came through and did a vote. We narrowed it down to another smaller number and smaller number. And it was a really interesting process. They enjoyed seeing how the process worked. They enjoyed participating in it. And frankly, I was quite surprised that they landed on this because I did not know what a lupin, and I still don't know if I say it correctly, if it's lupine or lupin. And I don't think it really matters, but it was the students essentially that came up with this name, and they're quite excited about it.
That's awesome. I love the process. And then my last question has to do with the recommendations. I was hoping you could just expand on like what is the recommendations around updated bylaws and articles, and what does it mean about greater oversight of TSPC accounts?
Yeah, we have not had a chance, our board has not had a chance. They've been doing some restructuring. You want to explain?
The bylaws and articles?
Yeah.
We actually adopted new bylaws about 6 months ago. And then there was the new meeting laws that came through. And so when we had our evaluation, she pointed out that they're brand new, but they're already outdated because of those new meeting laws. And so we had to update them for those. But in between the two updates, we adjusted to reflect the board size and the activity of the school better. I believe the bylaws we replaced were the original bylaws from 2007, and the school's changed a bit since then. And so we just updated it to reflect more of the statute requirements and then also what the school is and needs to be. The articles was mostly due to the address and name changes. Because we bought property, some attorneys pointed out that we had some old addresses, and our name change happened in the middle of the purchase, which I do not recommend. So we did two of a lot of things. We'd do it as Lewis and Clark first, and then they'd come back and say, but that doesn't exist. So then we'd have to do it all again. So that was mostly what the articles were. And that just fit right in with board business as we've been revamping policies and setting up for the future. That is an admin thing.
That is, I had a couple of staff members that I did not realize had not submitted their charter registry paperwork, and Kristen recommended that we keep a better oversight on that. And one of those was mine. It had, hey, I have to say, that it had expired. I didn't realize that I was within my 30 days, but I had not completed that. So yes, need to keep a little more oversight for that.
But we just adopted a new HRIS, and so it's going to help track that in a less manual way. So we've already addressed it.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions from the board?
Just curious, what prompted the name change?
The students and it started out, I think, as the community members had suggested to the board. I think even before I came, 2014, 15, they were the Lewis and Clark. They didn't feel like was they weren't happy with that name. Some of the representations around that. There was there was information, my understanding, good and bad, but ultimately the students at that time and more recently did a lot of research to make sure they understood why we were doing this, why that had been presented previously, and if that was something they were still comfortable with continuing, and they came to that conclusion. And so we started the process of our name change. When you get 300 kids involved, it can take a while.
Okay. So I had two. One of them was how deep is your waiting list, and sort of in general, the lottery that's updated over the year. So now that you're going into a different space, what does that look like?
Yeah, we've always kind of had a more for staffing and personnel. We typically cut ours off at 400. We just can't keep processing the applications. It just takes too much time and so to do that. But and on average, we clear 30 maybe, and that's usually for our eighth graders that are leaving and the kindergarten group coming in. So yeah, that is something I'm very grateful for, and we're very fortunate that, if we could find a larger building, we would happily fill it up. But it's a good thing and a bad thing. So it's
Because I think that part of because Sean already covered the two recommendations, so I might as well just bring up the third one,
okay.
which is focusing on reducing gaps for students with disabilities, underserved races and ethnicities in English language arts and math. And so the lottery and the waiting list plays into some.
Correct. We do ours based on the obviously the currently attending students, and then we do a weighted sometimes for the different groups, and then Gresham-Barlow School District really is, we rarely get beyond that because that just kind of takes, there's just too many in at that level to be able to clear out anywhere beyond that.
And I'm pretty sure, but is the Lupine Community, I have to look at it, the Lupine Community Montessori Charter School, that's the only Montessori charter school in Oregon. Is that correct? Because there were rules around starting one. You couldn't convert an existing charter Montessori school. So you guys were in a unique situation where you could start one without.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I just have over the past couple of years kind of learned the history that the group of parents within the community, I think there was evidently an ask from the school district and for more of an alternative model, and we got the funding and approached that, and it's a pretty unique that we are the largest within California, Oregon, and Washington for a public Montessori program. We're pretty committed to public Montessori, and we have an extremely high fidelity program that you don't really even find in a lot of private schools, but we're all really pushing for right now, I think the most recent I saw was that there's over 2,700 private Montessori schools, and now the 540 public Montessori schools are serving more students. So it's really a growing to make it more accessible. The bottom line is the public, that everyone should deserve a chance to attend regardless of an ability to pay. And that's what we're all about.
To your question,
Oops.
the 400 number that you referenced for the lottery, is that in addition to the students that you already have? Is that the wait list? Is that 400, or 400 is in?
No, that's the
take your
way,
students out?
that would be the number of applications that come
Okay.
in.
So in
You
addition
have
the
to
students,
reapply each year. So, there's a lot of people who have been you know, we get cleared maybe after 3 or 4 years and
Right.
we're able, because we do clear throughout the year, on a rare occasion, we can get, somebody can get in just because we've called 120 other people and they're like, I don't want to move in October, you know.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, any more questions from the board? No? All right, thank you. Appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
this evening. Yeah, and good luck on your building stuff. So in case those board members weren't aware, Ferris is over by North Gresham. That's where, okay. Old timers know. So next up, it shows a board recess. Are we powering through? Or do you need a 5-minute break? All right. And Director Ligatich, if you need to stand for the meeting, then yeah, that's you may what you need to do. So, all right, we'll go ahead and keep going then. Next item is just a report on the District Equity Committee meeting minutes. So that's just for information for the board. Association reports. We have the Gresham-Barlow Education Association. So let's go ahead and start with you this evening.
Good evening, members of the board, Chair Howitt, Deputy Superintendent Klinger. First, on behalf of the GBEA, I would like to wish our OSEA colleagues a happy Classified Staff Appreciation Week. Classified staff are most often our closest allies in the work to ensure every student can realize their potential. Their contributions throughout the district are essential, and we are grateful for the hard work and compassionate service we see from classified staff every day. My name is Samantha Johnson, or as the students at Barlow know me, Chef Sam. As the GBEA organizing chair, I have the privilege of hearing stories from all across the district from amazing educators in many buildings and roles. There are two common themes among the majority of the stories I hear. One, our educators in this district care so much and truly do the best they can to help our students thrive. Two, the weight placed on their shoulders is increasingly heavy. Class size and caseload continues to be the issue that has the most profound impact on our educators' ability to do their job well and create a sustainable work-life balance. You've heard from some educators impacted tonight, and I can assure you that their stories are examples of a larger problem, one that is leading to diminished student learning and increased educator burnout. Even with the potential of budget cuts ahead, the district needs to focus on improving learning for students by reducing class size and caseload. In fact, Alan Kruger, chairman of the Council on Economic Advisors, has estimated that every dollar invested in reducing class size in the early grades yields about $2 in long-term benefits. And that doesn't take into account savings from lower rates of grade retention or special education referrals, both of which fall when class sizes are lowered. We know that GBSD is not alone in facing this issue. Oregon has the 8th highest class sizes in the nation, and educator burnout is a real statewide challenge. To try to address this, Oregon legislators have introduced House Bill 3652, which would make class size a mandatory subject of bargaining for all districts. This bill had its first public hearing today and has wide support from legislators and from educators across the state. The message coming from our members and from the state is loud and clear. We need to do something about class size. We need to talk about it in a proactive, solution-focused way. Our members need to see changes being made. And it is my firm belief that the only way to avoid talking about class size contentiously in the next bargain is to talk about it collaboratively right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up is the Oregon School Employees Association, TAEA, and Happy Classified Appreciation Week.
Thank you, Chair Howitt, fellow members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Klinger. I was going to pass tonight, but I feel that I need to say on behalf of many classified staff that it doesn't feel like we have jobs. It feels more like a privilege to hold these positions and to aid in the growth and learning of our youth. Watching them grow is actually pretty fun. Last week was my 19-year anniversary with the school district, and I realized that it didn't feel like 19 years. It went very fast, and that is what it looks like to love what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. So next up, we have review of the school year calendar 2025 to 2028. And this evening, that will be Dr. Klinger that will be presenting with material provided by Superintendent Cook. Okay, all right.
All right, annually, the board adopts a 3-year school calendar. This year, the calendar adoption extends to the 27-28 school year. That's kind of crazy. The calendar is to support long-range planning goals for the district and provide calendar information to our community and families that will hopefully assist their planning needs. As the board is aware, modifications to the calendar can occur annually if necessary. So there is an action item to approve the 3 years of calendars that are attached to the.
And so it does state on here that this is sort of considered a first reading to review the attached calendars as presented. And most of what's on here, as I recall, are things like when the school year starts, when we have the breaks, when we have the winter break, when we have spring break, when there are certain fixed dates so that people can plan around those. So it doesn't change a lot through the calendar year. And so is this something that, do we anticipate that there will be any changes between what's presented right now as far as adopting this tonight, or do you want to bring it back for
Not that I would anticipate unless there's something else that comes up.
Sorry, this is a couple years ahead, but I do want to note, thank you, Holly, for bringing this to the attention, but for the, what is this, the 26-27 school year, their last day of school is June 21st because of Juneteenth that's recognized on the 18th. And so it would be nice if you could finagle the calendar so that the last day is on the 17th versus a day off on a Friday and having to come back on a Monday.
Not sure who wouldn't come back, which side would not come back. It would be pretty quiet, I think, in the buildings all the way around, so.
Just to clarify, we would have to find a replacement day, so that
Are we
would,
starting earlier in the school year?
I don't know that that would be the solution, given that that would be then prior to Labor Day
Oh, that would
weekend,
work.
because we usually start on that Tuesday, so we'd
Right.
have to look for some creative solutions.
Okay,
But I can certainly take that back to the team.
okay, all right. Since this is a first reading, we have time to do that. And so
absolutely.
we'll see it at the April board meeting. Okay, that's too fast. So any other questions about the calendar? Any other questions about, okay, so we will review that. We will get questions back to you, but it sounds like at least that particular one, so that we aren't having a day off. And then
And we didn't
would
catch
kind
it
of
last year.
guarantee, yeah, I would kind of guarantee that that'd be a real quiet day.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Next up is taking action on the supplemental budget adoption, as we heard earlier in the hearing. And so Dennis, I didn't know if there was more that you wanted to state about this, since we are in the meeting now, about what this is about.
Chair, how members of the board know, we covered everything in the hearing, so just the action to approve.
I would move to ratify resolution 2025-11, adopting the 2024-25 supplemental budget for the debt service fund.
Been moved by Blake, seconded by Sean, to ratify resolution 2025-11, adopting the 2024-25 supplemental budget for the debt service fund. Any conversation or questions? And just a reminder, this did not change the number of anything. It just reallocated into 2 different line items. So it didn't change anything that was in the budget. So, all right. Yeah.
Sorry, just a point of clarification. It does change what's in the budget. It does not materially change
It doesn't
any
change the
actual
number.
dollars.
It doesn't change
Yeah.
actual dollars. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I did that on purpose for you. Yes, budget language. Yes, yes. Other comments or questions about this? So, and all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. We show that as passed. Next up, also I believe has Dennis's name on it, is the surplusing of 3 modular classroom buildings located at Springwater Trail High School. Mr. Clegg.
Thank you, Chair Howe, members of the board. In 2011, the district purchased 3 modular buildings that were placed out at the Springwater Trail campus. They have served various purposes for the district, including housing some of our programs. In recent times, they were leased out, used by the Lupine Community Montessori Charter School. And now that they are moving into their own property, the district administration is looking to surplus those properties and dispose of them off of district property.
Oh, it is? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Blake.
I'd move to approve the surplusing of 3 modular classroom buildings located on the Springwater Trail High School campus for the purpose of disposing of the property through a sealed bid process.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by Blake, seconded by Holly, to approve the surplusing of 3 modular classroom buildings located in the Springwater Trail High School campus for the purpose of disposing of the property through a sealed bid process. Any further discussion about it? Yes, oh, David, go ahead.
How are we ensuring we're getting fair market value for these?
We've reached out to a local modular builder, and they've evaluated that, you know, based in their current condition and age, they're each about $50,000 value.
And is that money going back into the general IDEA? Okay.
Yeah, because they were purchased with the IDEA funds, the money either has to go back to the government or has to be invested in programs that are supported in the IDEA frame.
I mean, not to be labor, but it's probably worth disclosing what kinds of programs are supported by IDEA, just for public, and what does IDEA stand for?
And that might be better answered by Dr. Klinger, rather than, I don't know if Dennis would, or someone down, yeah, or by, sorry, by, yes, down, yeah.
IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and we get a modest grant from the state to support student services, students with disabilities.
Did you want more detail than that, Blake, just for the public? Okay, okay, all right. And just a question, so you received an estimate, from someone who deals in this kind of stuff. No, I'm gonna pass on the question. I'm not gonna. We have a motion to approve the surplusing. Are there any other questions or comments about it? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Next up is the Mount Hood Community College request for an endorsement on their upcoming bond. Last month, I believe this has my name on it. Let me see. Does it?
It does.
It does. All right, perfect, perfect. Then I'm going to talk. Okay. Last month, we had the Mount Hood Community College board member, the president, and I forget who the other person was that came, but we had a couple of people come to talk to us about the bond that they are doing. And this is the first bond that they've done in many decades, that it's time to update and do building with theirs. And I pulled out the little flyer that they gave us and the things that they're doing and that they're asking for our support in them moving forward. They're not asking for us to give them money. They're just asking for our support. Expanding career educational facilities to meet workforce demand, help Mount Hood Community College serve the community, secure the campus, and repair aging facilities. Some of those buildings are 50 years old. It needs some work to it. And the cost to do this, their bond, is approximately 25 cents per thousand of assessed value, which for the average homeowner is about $60 a year. And one of the things that I had forgotten about, but in our Cal Bruning Center for Allied Health Education, we do that as a partnership with Mount Hood Community College. So they directly support our children, our students, as well as supporting them in continuing education and in a way to get affordable college, get a couple of years out of the way before they move on perhaps to higher four-year colleges. So they also provided in their literature that this provides building the economy. It's $350 million in economic activity. And as we learned from our own bond activity, when you're doing bond work, that's local work. And that's making sure that we have folks in our community, it will be work for them as they do the work on the bond. So let me see what the motion was. Is there a motion on here?
Yes.
Where is it at?
I move to approve for the board chair to submit an endorsement in support of the Mount Hood Community College bond on behalf of the Gresham-Barlow School District Board of
There we
Directors.
go. Okay. All right, so it's been moved by Myra and seconded by David for the board chair to submit an endorsement in support of the Mount Hood Community College Board on behalf of the Gresham-Barlow School District Board of Directors. And that is the way that it would read on the endorsement, Board of Directors, and it can include my name as board chair on that so that they have a person. But that it would go, then it would not list the rest of the board members. It would list them as the Gresham-Barlow Board of Education. So any further discussion on that? All right, no discussion, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. I think this will be a wonderful thing for our community, and I look forward to their success in their bond endeavor.
Just so that
Yes.
you know, I
Yes.
messaged Sarah earlier and she attached it to our agenda, but they just changed the endorsement form like
okay.
a month or two ago or something, new to this election. So the one that Sarah has attached is the one that's current.
So I see there's one on there. Is that the one that it is?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'll use that one. Make
Yeah.
sure I use that one. Right away. Student transportation services update. Come on down. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you for having us tonight. For those of you that don't know, I'm Tammy Rickman. I'm the location manager for First Student. This is Jennifer Roche. She's the assistant location manager. Tonight, we're missing our district manager, Justin. He really wanted to be here, but he's sick and we didn't want him to share anything. Yes. Oh, thanks. So we're just going to start off with what we start off all of our meetings with, and it's our mission. Our mission is to provide unmatched care and the safest ride to school. So when students arrive, they start and end their day with an exceptional experience and are ready to achieve their full potential. Our values are focus on safety, care for our students, surpass customer expectations, foster teamwork, set the highest standards. Electrifying our fleet. First Student has the most electric buses deployed in North America. We've driven over 5 million miles. We have secured funds, $516 million in EPA funding for our customers. And our goals are to have 30,000 electric school buses by 2035, with an impact of 1.62 billion pounds reduction in greenhouse gases. Recently, Gresham was awarded an additional 3 Type D electric buses through the latest round of PGE grants, bringing our total PGE award to 9 EV buses with an expected total of 18. Single rider transportation. This is kind of become our jam lately. We are excited about this program. 2024 school year update is transporting 20 single riders across 18 dedicated routes. Single rider routes provide a personalized experience, making significant steps towards flexible and accessible transportation, ensuring safe and efficient transportation for students needing individual attention or special accommodations. We are excited to see this opportunity grow and look forward to the 25-26 school year. Recently, we were approached and asked to do a busing impact study overview to project the impact of combining high school and elementary students in the same buses. The parameters were this: students will not ride the bus for more than 1 hour and no bus will exceed 60 students. Our key takeaways were the significant financial impact, behavioral issues that may arise from mixing high school and elementary students. Single riders were not included in the study due to unknown yearly transportation needs. Staff and driver costs for hiring and onboarding were not factored into this study. Larger facilities to accommodate additional vehicles would also be needed and were also not factored into this study. Go ahead.
Some financial impacts of combining high school and elementary school students.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
on the same buses. As you can see on the left, our current number of elementary school buses broken out between general education, newcomer transportation, and special transportation needs. You can see we have our current numbers, the buses that would need to be added with those additional high schoolers on board, and the total number of buses. Additional bus requirements, it would be about 69 buses overall added to our current number. This would significantly increase the cost and financial commitment to the district. Some programs that we're very, very excited about this year that we want to share with you. One of them is our School Ambassador Program. This has been implemented with our staff, our trainers, our drivers. It focuses on building strong relationships between drivers and students. Our ambassadors are making lunch visits to school and engaging with students, talking about school bus safety and getting their feedback and insights on their bus experience. And some of the fun feedback that we've received is we love it when our drivers know our names. How big are bus engines, and why don't buses have seat belts? But our personal favorite is we really like it when our bus driver says good morning to us every day. These conversations have provided valuable insight into our students' experiences and perspectives. You can see the difference before implementing the School Ambassador Program from September 3rd, the beginning of the school year, until right before Thanksgiving break. We had a total of 618 student behavior reports sent to our schools. Since implementing this School Ambassador Program, that number has significantly decreased. We're down to 356. But some schools that are highlighted on this slide, you can see the significant decrease in school behavior reports. This program has had such a positive impact on the students and our drivers. We all know that student management can be difficult, but it's allowing our students to show up each day emotionally ready and prepared for their day, and our drivers. It's giving us more retention with the students because they're really understanding that behavior. Another program that we've implemented this year at no cost to Gresham-Barlow is our First View app. This is a GPS-based vehicle tracking app for K through 12 parents and caregivers. It helps parents stay connected with their students' school bus route regardless of the vehicle used. We currently have 541 parents using this app, and they kind of are excited about it because it's easy to use. They're comparing it to using like an Uber app. It allows them to accurately set parameters for their students' bus ride and track the bus, giving them updates throughout the day if the bus is running late, and allowing them to plan their mornings and afternoons better. If parents want to download this app, we've added the QR codes to the top of the screen, and you can add it on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Building our amazing team. Our commitment to building our amazing team. We want to build a diverse, equitable, inclusive, and safety-oriented team. That's our core value. We are committed to meeting students' needs and empowering staff to make meaningful differences. And our ongoing commitment strengthens our ability to create lasting, positive influences on both teams and our community. We are currently running 122 routes for GBSD. We have 122 drivers assigned to those routes, 5 cover drivers and 7 field spares. I apologize, 8 field spares, bringing us to 135 drivers with 13 surplus. We still have drivers in training, so we have 12 overall. 4 of them have permit pending, 4 of them are in our classroom sessions, and 4 of them behind the wheel. And we have 20 monitors on staff this year, and they are absolutely needed and wonderful, and we love them so much. A quick update on the Bull Run filtration project. We are currently collaborating with the Portland Water Bureau to minimize delays during the construction. We have had some minor delays on Altman Road and Carpenter Lane. We don't see any significant transportation impacts anticipated in the near future. Some possible potential disruptions could be when we have the full phases of full road closures and intersection closures. But we will work to mitigate those delays and make sure we're working with Portland Water Bureau to reroute or redirect if needed. Some things that we feel are going very well for us this year that we want to share with you. Christina, our charter coordinator, was honored by Gresham-Barlow School District with a What's Going Well award. This had a huge impact on her and our overall team with morale. She was so excited to receive that award. We have such a great relationship with this district. We absolutely love the relationship we have. It's built on trust, mutual respect, and an overall just passion for this community.
So two of my passions are the Journey Up program. It's a nonprofit that we run out of our location. It was started by one of our drivers, and it's been going for 8 years now. This year, the annual car show is on August 2nd, 12 to 5 p.m. at the Kmart parking lot. The price of admission is a backpack filled with school supplies or hygiene items. These backpacks are distributed to students in the community before school and throughout the year. And if you hear of anyone in need, please send them our way. Just use our office phone. Anytime anybody that answers the phone can help you with this. The other thing is, this really was a dream of mine. 4 years ago, when we started our electrification project, we had somebody come to our lot to talk about putting in the infrastructure. And in the process of this, we started asking if we could get the students at the high schools involved in, not really an apprentice type of thing, but in an educational way. They could learn what this was about, how they go about getting into these programs. So what we have started is, it's a class for Gresham High School. It's their automotive class. The 18th of this month, we will have our second on-site visit for the Gresham High School automotive class. During this visit, participating students will learn the process of applying for work and obtaining certification to work in a school district transportation setting. They'll also experience a day in the life of a large vehicle repair technician, learning about available job opportunities, career advancement, and pay growth. A key focus of the training includes workplace safety and ongoing education. Thank you for having us tonight, and if anyone has any questions, we'd love to answer them.
Any questions from the board?
I'm glad you brought up the Water Bureau thing. My son, we live 6 miles from his school, and he used to get to school in 7 minutes, and now it takes him up to a half hour to go 7 miles. And I'm glad that the trucks have been paused. I have seen them go well over the speed limits through stop signs. I witnessed it myself, and destroy our roads. I'm glad that it's working well for you guys, and I'm glad it's a positive thing.
This question might very well get deflected to the superintendent. So, two is, well, one of them is, has there been strong collaboration between the district and you related to the safety incidents perpetrated against your drivers and our students? That's the first question, that we've experienced a couple of incidents this year. So I guess that's the first question. And then I'll ask my second one.
So do you want me to go ahead and? Okay. Tracy, you want to go ahead? Okay. So if you're referring to last or 2 weeks ago, Friday, the pellet gun incident? Yes, yes. And then we had one last year. The collaboration between the district and First Student has been phenomenal. It really has. John was not aware that it had happened until we got a call on our radio. And then, of course, my dispatcher called me. So it was like instantaneous. It was within just a couple of minutes. I guess the biggest, hardest part of this is the radio system. Because once one driver calls out on that radio, somebody just shot my window out, it's fear and terror because every student on every bus hears that. Every driver that has any fear of that hears that. And then immediately you have 100 drivers on the radio. So that was the biggest part of it. We have been talking to Sarah. We're actually at a principals meeting here last Friday, had an open table talk about it. We are trying to improve our end of it by training drivers. I'm really surprised, truthfully, that they respond in the manner that they do and how quickly they are. A lot of it was mass confusion. They thought they were told to go to the elementary schools. And so they just sat there at Hollydale at one point, but kind of, we got a chuckle in the middle of it because the police officers got on one of the buses. The students had no idea that anything had happened. The kids on that bus were so rowdy. They were like, "Oh, are you here to give us stickers?" You know? So we watched some of the videos of that, and that was pretty funny. It does make our drivers nervous that there is a level of violence, as I'm sure it makes every single one of you nervous for your staff and the folks the students in the schools. It makes you nervous also. Unfortunately, I do believe it is a direct result of the world that we live in right now. And I think that the only thing that we can do is keep training our staff and our drivers and the community in general on how to handle these situations in a calm manner.
Thank you. That's the second question is obviously we're wrestling through budget issues that we all have to navigate and kind of just ensuring that there's a collaborative spirit about where we can find savings within our transportation unit as well. And I think probably part of your presentation was addressing some of that and maybe seeing if our high schoolers can get to school later. I sort of inferred, but anyway, just verifying that.
Only question for me was, have we sent out, I don't have students who ride the bus, so I might just be not informed, but have we sent out the app to parents through Parent View, Parent Square? That you guys have, the app that you guys have? Or how
That
are you
is available
communicating
on
that?
the district website.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a link.
Do you know, Tracy, if we've pushed it out through so that people are aware of that? Through Parent Square?
It just started this year.
We've been
working
in
the fall. We've been working with Jade pretty closely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because being on the app is great, or on the website is great, but parents don't always go to our website to look for things in their busy schedule. So if we were able to send out a notification through Parent Square, probably a lot more people would use that app.
And
So
we would really like that. Like we said, there's 541 users, so there could be a much bigger crowd. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
First is a statement. Thank you for creating that automotive program. I think that's great that you're able to take our students and expand their knowledge even greater and hopefully get some future mechanics out of it.
We love it. And if anyone would like to come and even observe, we would relish that. I actually got teary looking at them. I mean, there was a crowd in that big bay of students, and the questions that these students ask are so insightful and so smart.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, thanks so much for doing that. And the question is, I know historically, maybe not with Gresham-Barlow's first student, but it's hard to hire bus drivers, hard to keep them. Is that been your experience lately or not?
Honestly, the only thing that people ever put on an exit interview is that they need insurance. They need benefits. That's the only reason that we ever see that, they're dissatisfied with working there. We pay our employees good. We love our employees. We make sure that they understand that. And most of the reviews that Jennifer and I see because we do surveys and some of these are brutal. because they're anonymous. So people, they feel like they can say whatever they want to. But really, the one thing that sticks out, and it kind of makes Gresham-Barlow the district and the depot that people want to mimic, is they always say, this community is a family. And that's why they like to work here. And I'll be honest, we have a lot of people that go to other depots. They go to school districts, they go to Portland where they make much more money, and then they come back. So it's, we do pay well, but it isn't always the money.
Okay, any other questions? So, okay, thank you this evening, appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
I'm real curious about the app now. I don't have any kids though, so I'd have to have somebody go ride the bus.
You can get a hold of like Jade, and she can show you, because you can get into it just to see what it does. It's really pretty interesting. And I would love to see more parents take us up on that.
It would be really nice to see if the bus is running late to pick up or
Yes,
drop off, to be able to say,
And we
"Yep, there
encourage
they are right
parents
there."
that call
Yeah.
in just for that thing.
I bet,
Get the
I
app.
bet you get a lot of phone calls.
Thank you so much.
I believe we are reaching the end of our meeting. There isn't anything, have I left anything out, missed anything? I don't think so. So we are now up to the announcements part. And we have coming up on March 12th, a board work session at 6 p.m. in the Partnership Room, Center for Advanced Learning. March 19th, Budget 101, 7 p.m. in the Partnership Room, Center for Advanced Learning. On March 24th through 28th, 2025 is spring break. There will be no board meetings during that time. April 2nd, 2025, we'll be back here in the council chambers for the regular board meeting at 7 p.m. in the Public Safety and Schools building. And I believe with that, we are adjourned before 9 o'clock. So thank you.